When you were filming Hannah and Her Sisters and starring in the leading role as Hannah, did you know at the time it was going to become so recognized by the Academy and the public? Many comment that when you were shooting a film, it is hard to be able to tell if it will be a success or not connect with the audience. Do you care to comment?
Well, certainly you don't know. I mean, I don't know how big a success that was. I was really unaware of that one. I didn't particularly like that one myself.
The reason?
I didn't think it was. I thought it was. I thought it was really decadent. This idea of going through sisters, having inappropriate sexual relationships from sister to sister, without reporting any of the consequences. The sisters don't reflect any of the damage. I thought it was that. I didn't like the movie from the get-go. It doesn't matter. I don't remember who liked it. I thought there were others of Woody Allen's movies that I did like. I loved Purple Rose of Cairo. I thought that was an excellent movie, and I did think his best movie might be Crimes and Misdemeanors. My little son Moses called it Crimes and Misdemeanors. Mr. and Mrs. Meaners. But yeah, and I loved doing Broadway Danny Rose. And it is true. Look, I think the really only hugely successful movie that I've been in would have been Rosemary's Baby. And you don't have any clue at all when you're doing it about success, nor is that what you're thinking of, because your idea of success is so different. It has nothing to do with box office. You're just trying to do the very best film you can do, and for your part, which is only a part of a very large tapestry, you just have to. You're so concerned about getting it right, and your collaboration with your fellow actors and your director, and it's just so intense. You're so focused on that. You're just not even thinking about, gee, what's the audience going to think? You can't.
You do not know that you have successfully raised and dedicated your life to 14 wonderful children. What was it like raising 14 children, and where did you obtain all the energy and dedication, since many parents would comment, one child is more than a full-time job? I think all would agree that you have provided love, life, and hope for each one of them.
Well, I realized it was very presumptuous to take on. My mother said it was crazy, but I acknowledge there's a certain presumptuousness. I adopted my first child during the Vietnam War, and where we were, those of us who were, all those of you who are old enough to remember that time, there was famine in Ethiopia, Bangladesh, and we saw pictures of war orphans daily in our newspapers. I had twins, excessive, ever excessive, and I didn't see any need to reproduce again. But I definitely wanted more children, so I was led to my first adoption by the desire to expand my family, and the sure knowledge that there were children in the world needing a home, and that somehow led to the adoption of 10 children. Most of them have profound disabilities. Most of them were adopted at a later age. The eldest was about 14 when she was adopted. So it's not like I had suddenly 14 babies in the house. My oldest kids are 36, twins. My youngest is 12. I have 6 grandchildren. So it's a picture of, well, yes, mayhem, sure, but picture the NASA Control Center. That's me. Where are you? When are you coming back? But there's a lot of organizing, but it's loads of fun, and the holidays are. That's for another session, John. Keep your sense of humor. It is loads of fun.
And it keeps you in shape.
It keeps me in shape. Well, that's another plan to exercise.
Switching to a lighter note, how did the Beatles song Dear Prudence come about?
Cool as that. If that had been written for me, if there had been a Dear Mia song, that's how I would introduce myself, totally. Your introduction to me was so interesting because you spotted that. I was like, how cool is that? And I had to tell my sister. She didn't even know. And then she's such a, she's a meditator, and it was so peripheral that it was out of sight. She just didn't know. And I said, Prudy, the Beatles wrote a song for you. Can you believe it? She said, oh, that's so sweet of them. And then she said, oh. She was at the ashram, and she's a completely compelling person. She's absolutely gorgeous, hilarious in every way. I mean, in the best ways. But the Beatles were absolutely, as everyone is, completely attracted to my sister Prudence. And John and George were totally fascinated by her. So they were her partners. That we were all assigned partners, and they too signed up to be her partners. And she said, honestly, all I wanted to do was meditate And they didn't fully understand the seriousness of being there at the Ashram. And you know, to be truthful, she said, I just wished they would be quiet. They would come into her room singing Obla Di Obla Da. She said I was trying to be polite, but she would finally should just push them out of the room. And they wanted her to come out and play. And those of you who remember the song, she just wanted to meditate. So, you know, it's a good song, and it's a great story. And, you know, how cool is that?
Most